Good morning. It's Tuesday, February 3rd. From our News Nation headquarters in America's heartland, it's time for News for All Americans. I'm Nick Smith in for Markey. There were a number of developing stories overnight, so let's jump right in. A major about face from Bill and Hillary Clinton, now preparing to testify in front of a House in its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The former president and former Secretary of State were just days away from potentially facing criminal charges for defying a congressional subpoena. A spokesperson for the Clintons now saying the former president and former Secretary of State will be there. They look forward to setting a precedent that applies to everyone. News Nation White House correspondent Libby Dean is live in Washington with the very latest. Libby, this is definitely an about face from Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Nick, quite the change up from the Clintons, and this is unprecedented. A former president has never been deposed before a committee under congressional subpoena, but former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, they will testify in person before the House Oversight Committee in the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the House Oversight Committee Chair, James Comer, he released the following statement, reading: the Clintons' counsel has said they agree to terms, but those terms lack clarity yet again, and they have provided no dates for their depositions. The only reason they have said they agreed to terms is because the House has moved forward with contempt. And the House was about 48 hours away from voting to hold the Clintons in criminal contempt of Congress. If those charges were prosecuted and there was a conviction, they could face prison time and fines. As Comer was testifying, though, he was notified by email from the Clintons' attorneys, learning in real time they reversed their decision.
The Clintons have agreed to appear for depositions and have agreed to the terms that you laid out in your most recent letter.
Are you aware of that?
No.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case...
Somehow the media and the Democrats get the correspondence way before we do.
My understanding is that their attorneys reached out to you.
Your staff has it.
So this will be a closed-door deposition, but we'll likely get that readout of their testimony whenever it does happen. Nick, no date set for that just yet.
Libby, thank you so much. Joining us now, News Nation Chief Washington anchor Leland Vittert, host of On Balance. Leland, good morning. You had to have been as shocked as we were when we heard the news about Bill and Hillary doing an about face.
I wouldn't say shocked. At some point, if Democrats want to claim that they're the party of the rule of law and believe in the rule of law, it's awfully hard to be the ones avoiding subpoenas. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know whether they're going to take the fifth and what they're going to answer. We all know what got Bill Clinton in the most trouble was a deposition right in the Paula Jones case. So you can imagine they are going to be quite careful in this. The other question is really, what is the purpose of this? What are the House members and their lawyers going to try to get at? Is it to prove wrongdoing by the Clintons, or is it to just sort of further lay out Epstein's web of highly connected and important people that probably wouldn't have much effect on the Clintons anyway?
And Leland, I guess that's where I have questions, because we've talked about this before. We heard Pam Bondi say the DOJ went through the documents. There was nothing in the Epstein files to suggest that anyone needed to be prosecuted. There wasn't anything that suggested that. We have the House now talking about they want Bill and Hillary to testify, but we don't have all the documents released. How much can we actually learn, Leland, when we don't have all the information?
Well, last time I checked, Nick, that in most cases of criminal prosecutions that end, the American people don't get the full investigative file. And there's a reason for that, because it's not fair to people who were caught up in the investigation, for whom warrants were not issued, or for whom there weren't court orders or subpoenas to look into their lives, or they spoke to the FBI, or people who talked to the FBI about them and those claims were unsubstantiated. And we're sort of seeing that of the collateral damage that is coming out here. That's not how America has worked and the criminal justice system has worked for the past 70 years. The flip side to what you're saying is the following. Every Justice Department since George Bush, so that's Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, and Trump again, have all looked at the same files. And they have all concluded that there is no one that they can charge and prove guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So the argument that somehow one person or multiple people is being protected I'll turn it around. Find me some person in America who all of those justice departments would be interested in risking their professional careers and being exposed as the protector of child predators in order to protect. I don't think that person exists. Normally, the easiest way to explain these things is incompetence over conspiracy.
Leland, a spokesperson for the Clintons, says their testimony should, quote, be setting a precedent that applies to everyone. Will this lead to other prominent figures being called to testify on Epstein?
Well, certainly if the Republicans are going to want other Democrats to testify. And that sort of was the point that I was trying to make at the beginning, right? That the Clintons want to lay out, and Democrats want to lay out, look, the Clintons testified. Now all of these other people should testify. And one can imagine if in 270 days or whatever it is that Democrats win the midterms, that the next 2 years will be Epstein hearings by Democrats, calling Republicans to testify about what their interactions with Epstein was. If nothing else, then people believe, especially Democrats believe, that if they can have noun, verb, Trump, Epstein, it's good for them in a sentence, as if there's guilt by association. Again, I would go back to that's not how America has ever worked.
Leland, last question I have for you. When we look at this and we see the latest trove of documents that have been released, we've seen new names added to the list of those who seem to have had interaction with Jeffrey Epstein after he was known to have been convicted and the trouble he had been in. Leland, how much of this can we actually weigh at face value because some information has been taken back and further redacted, some information has been released? Should we just look at it at face value or still wait to recognize that there's so much we just don't know?
Well, both can be true at once, right, Nick? That number one, anyone who had interaction or was currying favor with Jeffrey Epstein after his guilty plea in the early 2000s for engaging in sex trafficking with minors is shameful. I mean, they need to look inward upon themselves and realize that they put their own personal, political, or financial ambition ahead of just the most basic of common human decency, which is you don't interact with child sex predators. I can't imagine I have to say that at 8 o'clock in the morning on television, 7 o'clock Central Time. The flip side to that is that in America, we don't believe by guilt by association. And the idea that the Justice Department is now putting out documents, albeit because the House ordered them to, because of political pressure, that changes sort of the entire system of American justice, where investigative files were private until such time as someone was charged with a crime, and then those documents came out in court. That was a very important precedent. It has lots of ramifications now that it's broken. I'm not sure any of those are good.
Leland, thank you so much. There is just so much here, and it's so uncomfortable to talk about, but it just leads and raises so many questions. Be sure to check out Leland's War Notes for more on the big headlines of the day. You can find them at warnotes.com or on the News Nation website. Well, all eyes are on a House vote happening later today that could end the partial government shutdown. Right now, you're looking live at Capitol Hill, where Republican lawmakers are optimistic they have the votes to pass a funding bill later this afternoon. While many House Democrats support the spending package, a good number are expected to vote no. Even if the bill passes, Congress will have to debate DHS funding before that expires in the next 2 weeks. Nationwide outrage over 2 deadly shootings in Minneapolis is sparking change in the federal immigration crackdown. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announcing every officer in the field in Minneapolis will wear a body camera going forward. She's hoping to put cameras on officers everywhere as local leaders on the East Coast sound the alarm about ICE in their communities. We're covering ICE operations across the country. News Nation national correspondent Marcus Espinosa is in New Jersey. But let's start with national correspondent Xavier Walton with the big change in the Minneapolis immigration crackdown. Xavier, good morning.
Nick, good morning. Yeah, so this move by Kristi Noem and DHS to outfit ICE agents with body cameras, essentially, it's all about transparency. Still, people in Minneapolis will tell you too little, too late. Damage has already been done, and it's just not simply enough. Here's the post from Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, on X, basically saying she talked to Border Czar Tom Homan, who's now in charge of operations there in Minneapolis, saying Minneapolis officers in the field will get those body cameras immediately. And she also went on to say, as funding is available, the body camera program, like you mentioned, Nick, will be expanding nationwide. President Trump responding, appearing supportive.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening. So it's, generally speaking, I think 80% good for law enforcement. But if she wants to do that, I'm okay with it.
So a DHS spokesperson says there is body cam footage from Alex Preddy's fatal shooting. This is cell phone video. Meantime, Monday, the Hennepin County medical examiner ruled Alex Preddy's death a homicide. Now, this does not automatically mean a crime or any charges, but what it does do is it applies more pressure to get answers, Nick.
Xavier, we know the family of Renee Good will be on Capitol Hill later today. What are they asking lawmakers to do?
Well, they're hoping to get answers. They want their voices to be heard, and ultimately, they believe possibly lawmakers can help with that. And they also want an independent investigation into Renee Good's death, into their family members' death. And by being there, they hope that will apply some sort of, pressure. Obviously, the facts surrounding her death not really being disputed. However, the moments before she was shot definitely are. So federal officials have said it was self-defense. Local leaders are pushing back, challenging that notion, citing several cell phone videos. And now talk of oversight is reverberating across Capitol Hill. Congress, they could demand briefings. They can hold hearings or try to tie funding to new rules. All this, of course, is ICE funding sits at the very center of the government shutdown. Something else to pay attention to moving forward is DHS and ICE leadership. Are they going to be called to Capitol Hill to testify? Is that going to be public, or is it going to be held behind closed doors in private, Nick?
Xavier Walton with the latest. Xavier, thank you so much. Let's go now to News Nation national correspondent Marcus Espinosa in Jersey City, New Jersey. Marcus, good morning. Officials there are furious over ICE operations they say are happening without notice, and one operation was actually caught on camera.
Hey, Nick, good morning. Yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on this and what happens afterward, because this could be another flashpoint here as now ICE is on the East Coast making arrests. You mentioned that video. Take a look at it here. Actually recorded by a council member that saw this take place with ICE officers handcuffing a man inside of a light rail station. Listen to this exchange between the council member and those ICE officers.
Do you have a particular warrant to look for anybody? So I'm the elected official. My name is Jake Efros. I'm the city council person right here in Jersey City.
Listen, there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to prevent us from doing our job. Just letting you know. So you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time.
Okay, what is your job?
No, we're ICE. Okay, clearly we're marked. All right. So I'm just letting you know. You can continue talking, but we're not going to answer any questions. So just stay there. You can observe. You can do whatever you want. Just don't interfere. Are we cool?
Okay. What is the?
I'm not going to tell you anything else.
Do you have a warrant?
We don't need a warrant, bro. Stop getting that in your head.
You can just sense that tension there. Jersey City officials organized emergency meetings after the arrest where they shared a hotline, also advice on how to observe and collect evidence when dealing or interacting with ICE. Efro says nearly 1,000 people registered for that within a matter of hours.
That shows me that ICE is not welcome here, that the Jersey City community wants our immigrant neighbors to feel safe, wants all of our neighbors to feel safe.
Jersey City Mayor James Solomon posted a video on X as well as other social media platforms urging residents to know their rights, including the requirement for a judge-signed warrant for an ICE arrest. Hoboken's Mayor Emily Jabor says at least 2 people were reportedly detained there, and local police were not notified of that ahead of time. They also did not assist in any way there. So right now we have reached out to ICE to see on specific numbers of arrest here in Jersey City and Hoboken as well. So right now, really critical to pay attention to what happens in the coming days here, because certainly protests could pop up. I'm keeping an eye out for any of those organizations that could take place here in Jersey City or Hoboken. But another instance of this interaction being recorded here, this time by a council member.
Marcus Espinosa with the latest. Marcus, thank you so much. Now to more headlines we're following closely this morning. About 350,000 Haitians living in the United States will keep their temporary protection status for the foreseeable future. A federal judge paused the Trump administration from ending immigration protection for Haitians. If they lost that status today, as planned, they would have been considered illegal immigrants and subject to deportation. This ruling means work permits and deportation safeguards stay in place while the case makes its way through the courts. The Trump administration plans to appeal that decision. News Nation's Brooke Schaefer has more on this story later this hour. And later today, President Trump will be hosting Colombia's President Gustavo Petro at the White House just a month after President Trump called him a sick man and a drug lord. Petro has accused Mr. Trump of being an accomplice to genocide over the war in Gaza. Today's meeting is expected to address drug trafficking, trade, and possibly operations against rebel groups in the South American country. And President Trump is raising the stakes in his ongoing feud with Harvard University. Late Monday night, the president took to Truth Social demanding $1 billion settlement with the Ivy League school in order to restore its federal funding, double what he had been calling on the university to pay previously. All of this comes as negotiations have appeared to hit a stalemate after months of talks. The president's post came hours after the New York Times reported that the White House had dropped its demand for a payment. And NASA's long-awaited return to the moon's orbit in more than 50 years will have to wait just a little bit longer. NASA is dropping plans to launch its Artemis II mission around the moon during February's launch window after several leaks were found during a make-or-break test on Monday. Artemis II will now aim to launch in March. The mission marks NASA's first crewed mission beyond low Earth orbit and the first crewed mission around the moon since Apollo 17 back in 1972. And the mother of one of the country's most well-known news anchors is missing. Why authorities say they don't believe Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother simply wandered off on her own, and how you can help bring her home. A top Trump ally says if you bring a gun to the nation's capital, you're going to jail, even if you're licensed to carry that weapon. What's driving the warning from U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro.